Well, hello everybody. Welcome to P.B.M. Money. Do you hate banks? I didn't used to, but I gotta tell you, the more I deal with banks and credit unions, the more I learn the difference. I think banks right now are shooting themselves in the foot, and they just don't realize it. I did a video not too long ago talking about the different fees. I mean, that was my job back in the day, was creating fees for a bank out of fees that shouldn't even be there. I just recently did a video on getting a line of credit or overdraft protection for your account and all the fees. Wow. So anyway, I was thinking about, what about if you wanted to get away from the banks and all of their silly charges, what other alternatives could you do? And one of them would be a credit union. And I strongly believe in credit unions. The difference between the two is remarkable. There's hardly any fees with the credit union. The credit union is not there to make money at your expense. They're there to build a community and help you grow financially. And I know that sounds like a sales spiel. I'm not funded by them. I'm not receiving anything from them. But that's their charter, and that's one of the reasons they don't pay income taxes, is because their function is not to be a bank. There's a reason that they don't pay taxes, and that is because they put it back into the customers. Now, they cover most banking services. My credit union does not do home loans or any type of real estate loans. They're very small. They do auto loans, but that's as big as they do. They do credit cards, which, by the way, if you're ever trying to build your credit, go to a credit union, not to a bank, because credit unions will have good programs to get people back on their feet as far as their credit goes. Now, another function that banks do that you could go somewhere else would be a brokerage firm. And that would be something as big as Fidelity and Vanguard to something as small as Robinhood and Webull. And the purpose of that would be to save your money, because both of the online ones, Robinhood and Webull, you can now earn interest on your money. And you can use all four of those platforms to buy and sell stocks and crypto. If you are trying to do a retirement account, I would probably go to one of the larger ones, because they've got credit cards, they've got savings, they've got mutual funds, they've got retirement accounts, IRAs, Roths, they've got the whole shooting match. When I think about a bank, I think about a bank that is kind of like a shopping center. They provide different services, and unfortunately, every service has got a ton of fees associated with it. So you have to be very, very careful. So when we break these out, you know, like the savings and the investment part, try a brokerage firm. If you want to get a loan or lines of credit or checking and savings, credit union for sure. What about mortgage brokers? Now, I've been around, and you got to be careful, because some of these guys are just shysters working out of their kitchen. Not that there's anything wrong with small business guys working out of their kitchen, but we had one here in this town that they caught him doing some really bad stuff, and he fled, and they found him guilty. And I never did hear the ending to that, but he took a lot of people's homes for himself. Another advantage to a mortgage broker is they use independent underwriters. What does that mean? If you go to a bank to get a mortgage loan, the bank has got their own underwriters, or they're going to use underwriters that work for the government. One of those two. They have a vested interest in protecting the bank. That's their goal, is to protect the bank. It is not to protect you. If you think that the underwriting of a loan is to protect you, you are sadly mistaken. That whole process of your tax returns and your verification of employments and your savings and checking and stocks and bonds and mutual funds and retirement, that is all for their protection, so they know where your money's at if something goes south on the loan. Now, a mortgage broker, they are independent underwriters. Their main goal is to get this loan made so that the broker can make his money and then sold to independent investors. Now that could be Freddie Mac and Fannie Mae, or it could be unions, it could be major corporations, it could be investment firms, but mortgage brokers will sell their loans to these investors, not exclusively to the government like bankers do. Now, if you're worried about breaking your relationship with the bank because of car loans, there's many places you can get a car loan. You can get one at a credit union. You can get one at a savings and loan. You can get one through most car dealerships. And if you do, like we try to teach on these finance channels, pay cash. You know, drive a junker for as long as you can and pretend like you've got a monthly payment. Put that money into a savings account, and then when you've got enough cash, go buy the car. There's an alternative. And then the last one, money orders. You say, well, you got to go to the bank to get money orders. No, you don't. You can go to gas stations, as an example. A lot of gas stations, I mean a lot of gas stations have money orders. Also, and I'm not recommending these, but this is an alternative, those check cashing places, you know, and unfortunately, a lot of poor, unbanked, or uneducated people will go get a job, which as a general rule is a low-paying job, and they take their check to these check cashing places because they can't cash them at a bank. And these check cashing places will rip them off. I used to use those years ago. Man, oh man, they rip you off. And they have they have money orders, and they have cashier's checks. They have all that, but they charge an arm and a leg. If you are in the lower income bracket, I would recommend not getting away from banks, but going towards a credit union. You need to get some type of financial relationship established with somebody. If not a credit union, you go to one of the free brokerage firms. At least that way you'll have a place to put your check. I mean, you need to have a relationship somewhere. I would, if I were, and I still am, but it's taken me many years to build a relationship with a financial institution, a credit union, and be able to get checks and counter checks and money orders and cashier's checks and all of that stuff. And I get all that for free. All that for free. Not from my bank, from my credit union. So those are some of the different alternatives that I came up to if you are unbanked, or if you have a bank and you want to get rid of it because you're fed up of the fees. I got to tell you, I am sick and tired of paying nonsensical fees. Now, I told a story one time. I went to, somebody wrote me a check, and I wanted to make sure that the money was in the bank. So I went directly to their bank. It was not my bank. I went to their bank to cash a check on their bank. Okay? Did I say their bank enough? Their bank. The check was drawn on their bank. They wanted to charge me $5 for like a $75 check because I didn't have the account there. Man, I mean, I understand that there's a cost of doing business and that you need to pass that along to the customer, but I've never seen a business that didn't absorb some of the cost of doing business. I mean, as an example, when I first got into banking, it was a little community bank, and every morning we had coffee and donuts set up for the customers as they came in the morning. That was a cost of doing business. Now, it was only 20 bucks a day, but that 20 bucks a day did a lot of good. A bank, regular bank, I've never been into a bank and seen that. I've seen stuff for sale in banks, but never just out to help the customer. But anyway, if you're in the lower income, I recommend the other alternative, and that is go establish a financial relationship with the credit union. If you're not in that economic income, I recommend divesting yourself away from banks and going towards credit unions and brokerage firms and dealerships where you can get loans and gas stations for your money orders. Just my personal preference. The downside to that is, if you ever want to get a real estate loan, and usually it affects the large loans more, a bank is where you're going to need to go. Most credit unions don't have the financial wherewithal to handle a large loan. Most savings and loans will only do residential. So if you're going to do commercial or investment, you're going to need a bank. Just try to limit your cost and your interaction with them until you need them for a loan. Well, you guys have a great day, a great week, and happy investing.